What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Heat Check podcast. As always, joined here by Joey with the hottest takes. If you didn't see last episode, you probably should go do that. That was probably one of the best, if not the best episodes of the podcast we've ever released. Hopefully you had a good time watching the Cowboys versus the Bucks last night because, I mean, hell, it's opening day. That's literally one of the best days in football because you've been waiting all this time, waiting for it to come back, just like you've been doing with fantasy. I mean, everyone has probably done their drafts by now. Hopefully you're not doing it mid-season because that would be foolish. But, fantasy, it's getting started. You already had Thursday go by, but that's only 2 teams. We still got a majority of guys here left to play. So, as always, we are going to go into our running back, QB, wide receiver, and tight end rankings for week 1. But to start off, we got to start off with who we think are going to be our top guys. So let's start off with Joey's start of the week.
My start of the week, Lamar has one of the best matchups for a quarterback. Last year, I think they were ranked maybe the worst versus quarterbacks in the league. They have no front seven, basically, barely a secondary. I mean, you have Jeff Heath. I think Lamar has a 35-point ceiling this week and at least a 25 floor, I think. I think he can do it unless they come out there and just blow him out and they start running the ball, which is good for maybe Gus Edwards has hell of a week too.
I think Calvin Ridley is going to shine right here. Calvin Ridley had a big debut last year as one of the top weapons in the league. And I think he does it again here. I think he probably puts up numbers towards the 30s because, Calvin Ridley doesn't have Julio Jones beside him. Maybe this means that Russell Gage could get good volume. If you're in a deeper league, he might be a guy to pick up, put in your flex if you don't have a running back to put there. Or maybe Kyle Pitts has a good week. I don't know. I think it's going to take some time before Kyle Pitts gets worked into their offense. I'm going to go Calvin Ridley, no doubt, with my stud of the week here. With that being said, I also have him as my wide receiver 1 on the week, of course, because he is my stud of the week, transitioning right into my wide receiver rankings. Number 2, got Devontae Adams. Let's get back into the regular scheduled program. Devontae Adams back up at the top now that he's got his QB back. Right behind him, I got Tyreek Hill alongside Stephon Diggs. Then at 5, I got Justin Jefferson continuing his dance to stardom last year. 1,400 yards. I expect him to bring that type of production back with an even better Vikings team. And he's probably going to be one of, if not potentially could crawl up into like the best wide receiver in fantasy this year. But that's a lot of competition to beat out, especially when you got a guy like Thielen alongside who, while he's not going to have like 14 touchdowns like he had or whatever he had last year, he's still going to take away. That's not going to worry right now because Justin Jefferson is still going to have a good week. A.J. Brown, I got at number 6. Look, Julio's a fantastic talent. He's a Hall of Famer, but A.J. Brown is the clear-cut wide receiver 1 in this offense. He has a little bit more chemistry with Ryan Tannehill, and who knows? Julio could end up becoming the wide receiver 1 if he works up that type of chemistry, because if he has anything type of chemistry-wise like he did with Matt Ryan, hell, Titans are going to be an even better offense than I think they will. But for now, A.J. Brown is the top guy. Got him in at 6. 7, I've got DeAndre Hopkins. Kyler Murray, he continues going to be one of the best QBs in football, in fantasy football at least. You can argue whatever. D-Hop, that's his number 1 guy right now. You can expect with points for Kyler are going to come points with D-Hop. So I got him here at 7. At 8, I got DK Metcalf. DK is another one of those guys where he's going to get that volume. He's an incredible deep threat, especially a good red zone threat. Hopefully he can eliminate those drops. Number 9, I got Keenan Allen. Even though this Washington football team defense is really good, come on, it's Keenan Allen. He's already got that chemistry that quickly developed with Justin Herbert last season. So I expect him to be easy top 10 wide receiver every single week that he's playing. At 10, I got Cooper Kupp. There's going to be a guy from this offense that's going to shine every single week. It's not always going to be the same, but I think with the matchup that's given here for the Rams, I think Kupp coming out of the slot is going to get a little bit more production than Robert Woods, but I would not say Robert Woods is a bad option at all. I just think Kupp is going to crack into the top 10. The reason I don't have a guy like Allen Robinson in the top 10, I got him ranked here at 11 because he's got a tough competition here. He plays a very, very rough kind of a rough start, especially with Andy Dalton as your QB against a good defense. I don't know how much I love that. He could finish outside of the top 15, especially with Andy Dalton as his QB. But I do think for now you got to be safe, rank him at 11 because it's Allen Robinson. He's a top 10 wide receiver in the league. At number 12, I got scary Terry against Los Angeles Chargers. They've got better QB play here, and Terry just keeps on getting better every single week. And guess who's just announced that he's injured right now? That's Curtis Samuel. Anything you thought Curtis Samuel was going to take away from Terry, give that right back to him because who's going to take it away from him? Adam Humphries? I think he's on that team. I can't remember. Steven Sims? No. All right, it's going to be Terry. Terry's going to be Fitz's number one guy. He's going to continue to bring up the good numbers. Right here, I had Godwin and CD ranked at 13 and 14. If you saw the games, then maybe you know that maybe that wasn't that good of a ranking, but I do think those guys were going to be the top, fit in the top 15, 13 and 14. We are filming this before the game is played. So hopefully that ends up going well for me. And then at 15, I'm rounding it off with Steelers wideout Deontay Johnson. He's the number one guy there. He was a target monster last year, and I expect that to happen this year again. If Big Ben is going to go out with a bang this year, even though I don't think he will, it's going to start with Deontay Johnson getting targets like that. Now, the thing that's weird about wide receivers, like it is every year, there's a lot of talent you got to leave out. Just because they're not in the top 15 doesn't mean guys like Coop, Ayuk, Julio, Evans, and Woods are going to be bad plays. They're not. Hell, you could think that they're going to finish inside the top 15 over certain guys, but matchups and volume-wise, those are the guys that I got. But let's see who's going to be dominating on the ground for the running backs.
Yeah, those receivers are volatile. So just because Brett doesn't have them in the top 15, any receiver can really break out at any week. But I do not like AJ Brown that high. I think that's a bit high for AJ Brown. We still have to see this offense develop to have him that high. You know what I mean? Because he's gonna have some targets stolen by Julio, some red zone targets.
But I mean, to be fair, he played like a top 5 wide receiver like consistently last year in fantasy. But I couldn't help but rank him above guys like D Hop and Metcalf because I just think it's gonna click early on.
It can for sure happen, but I just don't. I think it should wait a couple weeks. Okay, getting to the running backs. Number 1, we're going with McCaffrey against the Jets. These running backs matchups this week in this top 5, top 7
crazy.
are just absolutely insane. If you are a fantasy owner of one of those top 3, 4 running backs at the top of the draft, you are eating this week. CMC against the Jets, man. And it's not like they're going to blow them out and CMC is going to get taken off the field early. Because, I mean, the Jets are going to be competitive, a little bit more competitive than they were last year. They could put up a fight against Carolina, and McCaffrey is going to be on the field at all times. They have Chuba Hubbard in the backfield. Nobody should be afraid of him. He's a rookie. He may get worked in near the end of games. Not getting any goal line work. McCaffrey is the only guy there, and we know how good McCaffrey can be. Put up a record season 2 years ago and was only out of because of injury last year, but he is back. Number 1 pick, McCaffrey owners, you should be excited for this week. Number 2, Dalvin Cook. This is going to kind of look like the draft here at 1 and 2. And that's how it's going to be most weeks. I mean, these are just the top 2 guys. They are kind of in a tier of their own. I mean, McCaffrey's in a tier of his own, and then there's another tier with Dalvin Cook in it. And his Cincinnati. I mean, you cannot ask for much better matchups than these top 2 running backs have this week. We know what Dalvin Cook did last year. But the question is this year, can he finish this season? Can he play all 16 games? We're not worried about that. We're just worried about week 1 right now, and he is prime for a crazy week this week against Cincinnati. Number 3, Alvin Kamara. We still have to see things develop here, but he's playing against Green Bay. We saw what running backs did to Green Bay. I mean, how Dalvin Cook dropped almost 50 on them last year. I mean, they just allow flat routes to running backs all day. They cannot stop the running back pass game. And who is the best at that? Kamara. I mean, he's got to be the best to do it in the NFL right now. I mean, you guys know how that they just stick with Jameis out there for fantasy sake. Let's just please get Kamara his touches. And number 4, this is kind of a risky pick, but I'm putting Aaron Jones pretty high against New Orleans. I think this could be a competitive game, and I think he's going to get some good goal line work this week. I really am excited to see how A.J. Dillon is going to be worked into this offense this year after we saw him perform late last We know this kid is going to be a talent. We know he is going to from Aaron Jones this year. It's nothing too much to be afraid of, though. Aaron Jones has proved himself, and he will for sure be the running back one all year, unless an injury happens, of course. Number 5, Derrick Henry against Arizona. We all know Henry's consistency. He can finish as the running back one on any given week, and he will always have that safe floor every week. He's a touchdown getter every single week. There's not going to be many weeks that go by where Derrick Henry does not see the end zone against Arizona. This is going to be a great game. This could be one of the games of the week, and he's going to be on the field all game. That's what you're looking for in these matchups. Do they have a good defense, and is the running back going to be on the field for the whole game? That's what you're looking for. At number 6, this is kind of crazy. Give me James Robinson against Houston. This is very high. I have him against up in front of a lot of you guys' running backs, and I know some people are actually screaming at their phone right now if you're an owner of one of these running backs. But
not if you're a James Robinson owner.
Yeah, it seems to be like we forgot what he did last year. We were scared this year to draft him, and we drafted ETN. I drafted ETN, and that backfired instantly. Right after our draft, he got injured, and James Robinson is back. He is another steal. He was a steal last year off the waiver late if you were very smart. But this year he was getting drafted 10th, 11th round. I mean, what else can you ask from this guy? He's just going to perform. It's Houston. This is going to be the crap show of the week. It's Jacksonville and Houston, so it's going to be decently competitive. I think Jacksonville takes the W, though. Najee at 7 against the Bills. The Bills running defense has always been flawed. It was flawed last year. We saw some running backs put up some big games against them. I'm excited to see the kid this week, man. I am excited to see what he's going to do with a full game. We saw him break some plays in preseason. With a full game workload this week, I am very excited to see what he's going to do. He has the potential to finish inside the top 5. Number 8, Nick Chubb against Kansas City. We saw Nick Chubb do very well against Kansas City in the playoffs last year, I believe. And he's just Nick Chubb. He's going to get the goal line work. He's going to break off some big plays against with this very good O-line. It's going to be a competitive game. The Chiefs are favored by 6.5 points, which I think is a bit too much. I think the Browns are going to keep this pretty close, maybe like a 3 to 7 point game, and Nick Chubb is going to be getting work. Number 9, Jonathan Taylor. A lot of people are scared of him this year, but he has a great matchup. Seattle. This is going to be a fun game to watch. This is going to be fun to see what they do with Nyheim Hines, what they do with Marlon Mack. But Taylor is going to be the man. He proved himself last year, and he has got it this week against Seattle, in my opinion. Number 10, give me Antonio Gibson against the Los Angeles Chargers. This is a very good. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be a competitive game. It's going to be high scoring, in my opinion. You got a good Washington defense, but a good Chargers offense. And I think that this Washington offense is going to be very exciting this year, and it's going to be underrated. And he's going to get the touchdowns, and he's primed for a huge workload. Even insiders are saying he's going to get a CMC type workload this year, which I would love to see.
For the sake of my fantasy team, I'm praying for that.
Yeah. Number 11. Oh, well, we're filming this at the time where this game has already passed, but I have Zeke at 11, but this game's already passed, so you'll already know what he's done. I'm sorry about that. I should have prepared better against Tampa Bay. Not much to say. That's already passed. Sorry, I'll add somebody else at the end, I guess. Number 12.
It's fine, I didn't.
Saquon Barkley at number 12. It's scary this week. We don't know what kind of workload he's gonna get. Other weeks, you're going to see me, once he gets fully cleared, once he gets that full workload, you're going to see him in the top, mostly 8, 7, somewhere around there. But it's scary this week. They said he will be partially limited. He has not been fully cleared yet, but I expect him to be before the game. He's going to play. You got to start him if you drafted him in the first round. You just have to. You got to see what he's going to do. And it's a risky play, but you got to start your studs. That's what they always say every year. You start your studs. If it backfires, it backfires. It's always next week. 13, Joe Mixon. This is not a good matchup. He goes against Pittsburgh, but it is Joe Mixon. He has that breakout potential, as we've seen last year. It might have
Pittsburgh,
been
no,
against Pitts.
it's against Minnesota.
He's playing Minnesota.
Yeah, because
My bad.
Cook plays the Bengals, right? Yeah.
My bad. I read this wrong. Uh, against Minnesota. Okay. That's a lot better of a matchup. Sorry about that, guys. Mixon plays Minnesota. This is going to be a good battle of the running backs. I think Joe Burrow can keep it competitive too. Number 14, he's low because I don't like him. It's Austin Eckler. I think he sucks. He's going against Washington, a good defense, but he's got to be in here. I can't be that biased against him because I mean he's a pass catching running back. He's good for PPR, but he is going against a tough defense. But the Chargers are going to move the ball. We know they're going to move the ball. Herbert moves the ball against good defenses all the time. Number 15, rounding it off with the Week 1 wonder, Raheem Mostert against Detroit. This might be the only week that he shines, but I believe he will shine this week. He has that 30-point ceiling at any given time, but Trey Sermon's going to end up taking this backfield over, in my opinion.
I know there's going to be certain people out there who are not going to like that Eckler pick. But honestly, I can't really disagree with you. The matchup is very bad with Washington. But going on to the tight ends, there's obvious guys up here who are never going to be beat almost. But I mean, there could be some guys who start creeping up there into that value. We'll get into that. Number 1, Kelsey, duh. Number 2, I'm going to put Kittle over Waller just because Kittle plays Detroit. Even though Waller is like the only wide receiver Las Vegas has, Kittle plays Detroit. I could say that 15 times back. Detroit sucks, and Kittle's probably going to have a good debut. Right behind him, I got Waller at 3. Number 4, TJ Hawkinson. I think those guys will never leave the top 4, only for like a couple of instances or their bye week. But once again, same thing with Waller. It goes for Hawkinson. I don't care if you got the best linebacker in football in Fred Warner. Hawkinson is the only wide receiver that they got over there in Detroit. He's going to get that volume. Same guy who's going to be getting a lot of volume is Mark Andrews coming in at number 5. He's Lamar's favorite guy. He's probably Lamar's only guy because everyone else in that wide receiver core is getting injured. And if your name is Hollywood Brown, you're not really all that good of a target to throw to. So, yeah, I would expect Andrews to keep on with that top 5 production.
Just got an extension, too, so he's going to be happy.
Huge extension.
He's going to have a good mood, yeah.
At 6, got to put the rookie Kyle Pitts. I think he could start creeping up there into maybe above Andrews, maybe above Hawkinson. But Pitts isn't the number 1 option like Hawkinson, Andrews, Waller, Kittle. He just really isn't going to be that over Ridley. Probably maybe not ever in his career with the Falcons, because Ridley has already developed into that number 1 guy for them. He's already proven that. It's going to take Pitts a little bit of time to get his groundwork because rookie tight ends, they don't always have the greatest seasons. But I mean, it's Kyle Pitts. This is a guy like we've never seen before, and he'll still be up there with the tight ends. Number 7, I got Logan Thomas. Just like you said earlier, with how you think this Washington offense is going to be good, Curtis Samuel is out of there. That pass catching work is going to go to Terry and Thomas. I expect these guys to be the main front runners for this Washington pass offense. At number 8, I've got Noah Fant. Look, I always expect Noah Fant to start breaking out, to start being that guy soon. But with Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton back, I don't expect him to be that great of an option. But Noah Fant has got the talent to be up there, so I got him put him at the bottom of the top 10 just because of the talent upside. Number 9, I'm going to put Mike Gesicki for the week. He's a guy that I could see, once again, he has those really good breakout weeks because Gesicki runs a lot of stuff out of the slot, which that's music to your ears if you stream tight ends. You want a guy who's running routes like a wide receiver would. That's good volume. But bottom of the top 10 here. And rounding it off, I've got, it's kind of a tie between Jared Cook and Gronk here for me. I'm going to go with the talent here and go with Gronk. But the thing that I kind of am on the fence about is that we got Micah Parsons now, and he proved in the preseason that he can cover, that he's got really good coverage IQ, and in training camp, he's gotten himself a couple of picks. So I do expect us to at least have some sort of stoppage towards a guy like Gronk, but it's Gronk. You can't really stop him all that much. So I'm going to round off the top 10 here with him towards the bottom of the barrel, just because there's also a lot of wide receiver passing options. But I mean, Gronk's such a big target. Jared Cook, on the other hand, He's a Hunter Henry type of dude. He could come in and fill that role easily. And if he's filling Hunter Henry's role over there in that Chargers offense compared to last year, he's going to be a top 10 tight end probably week in and week out. But yeah, those are my tight ends for the week. Let's round off our rankings with the quarterbacks.
I really like that list, Brett. I couldn't have done it better myself. You're going to see Kyle Pitts jump up that list at some point in the season, though.
Probably,
I really think
yeah.
he's going to break out. QBs. Tom Brady would have been at 4. We've already filmed this. We filmed this after the game, though. It's going to be uploaded after the game. We filmed it before. But I would have had Tom Brady at 4. I don't know how he did right now, but I'm sure he did well against the Cowboys.
Probably good.
So I'm going to edit it. To be okay. Number 1, Mahomes against the Browns. Like I said, I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. And when Mahomes has the ball, he's going to score the ball. I mean, he's just a fantasy beast. He's going to be a beast. Number 2, it's the Raiders. He is my stud of the week, but I still Mahomes is a lot safer. I think Lamar definitely has that stud of the week potential, and I'm not going to be surprised at all if he's number 1. Number 3, Kyler Murray. He plays the Titans, one of the worst secondaries in the league. They lost Malcolm Butler, of course, and he just retired, actually. So let's
that was crazy.
World up. Malcolm Butler, thanks for everything you did, of course. I mean, we'll never forget that play. It's one of the best plays of all time. I mean, you might only be known for that play.
The thing that sucked is that Malcolm Butler was about to face off against the team that he played against last year in the Titans, and, he could have showed off, but, I mean, he's not playing for the Cardinals anymore. He's not playing for anybody.
Yeah, but goodbye, Malcolm. Thank you for all you did. Number 4, like I said, I would have had Tom Brady, but I'm going to move everything up. So number 4 is going to be Josh Allen against the Steelers. Tough defense, but we know that Josh Allen is going to be one of the most consistent quarterbacks. There's no really upside. There's no really floor. He can just do. I mean, he's going to be a high 20, mid 20 guy every single week. He could even step into the 40s at some weeks. Number 6, Jalen Hurts going against Atlanta. This is a great matchup for Jalen Hurts. It is an upside pick.
Yeah.
But this guy, we saw Josh Allen last year being drafted in like the 9th and 10th rounds. This could be the Josh Allen for fantasy this year. Like you were saying, Kyler was going to be the Josh Allen this year last episode. I think Jalen Hurts can be that fantasy option, that late round pickup that just wins you the league, and you can start him every single week. I think Jalen Hurts is a great play this week. If he's on your bench, I consider moving him up unless you have one of those top guys that I named.
Yeah.
Number 7, number 6 actually. Russ versus the Colts. Russ is going to move the ball down the field. Great weapons. He's been one of the most consistent fantasy quarterbacks over the past 5 years. Number 7, Herbert against Washington. Herbert, one of my favorite fantasy quarterbacks this year. I was targeting him in a lot of my mock drafts. I didn't end up getting him in our league though, but I think he has the potential to even outscore. I mean, he has the potential to be the quarterback, a top 3 quarterback in fantasy. He just has that talent. He has the weapons. He's gluing with that offense more and more throughout the last season, and they're going to be winning games this year. He's going to be launching the ball down the field. At number 8, I'm going Tannehill against the Cardinals. Tannehill, I've been stashing him on my bench a lot. I think this guy is another one of those Jalen Hurts type guys. You pick him up in the late rounds, and they end up breaking out. He added Julio Jones, and he has been a great fantasy quarterback in the past. We've seen him last year. He has a bit of rushing upside. He'll get in there, do that little finger roll, something fantasy owners love to see. Number 8, Aaron Rodgers going against the Saints. Aaron Rodgers, he's got a chip on his shoulder. Like we talked about last episode, he's coming into the season with a lot of pressure with how much drama he put on social media and stuff this offseason. He's going to have to perform. He's going to come out hungry. He's got the Saints. Not the best matchup, but A-Rod will put up those numbers. And Matthew Stafford is going to round out this list at 10. Who is he playing again? I forgot to write it down.
Stafford is actually, I can't remember. I think he's playing the
Rams. Who are the Rams playing?
Oh, you know what? I think it's the Bears. I think he's playing the Bears. Yeah, because Robinson's going up against Ramsey. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope Stafford game. He's going to produce fantasy points. He has the weapons around him to do it. That's my top 10 quarterbacks. Brett, what do you think of that?
It's a pretty good list. I mean, I can't really argue. I do like the Hurts upside just because I am a Hurts owner. Even though he's not going to be a guy that finishes inside the top, maybe he probably won't finish inside the top 5 QBs on the year because that'll be guys like Mahomes, Lamar, and all those guys, like actual real life MVP candidates who produce fantasy numbers as well. But Hurts is going to be a great guy who ends up getting picked up in the volume because I think the rushing upside is just too big to deny. I mean, I don't think Miles Sanders is going to do much. I think, hell, if anything, he hurts the stock of Miles Sanders with how much he runs the football. And he's got Devonta Smith. I don't know how good of a weapon he's going to be, but Atlanta sucks. Any weapon is good against them, and I do really like that pick. But, guys, that rounds up everything that we've got for fantasy. 2 big episodes. Week 1, it's the biggest week, arguably, of the entire NFL season, besides from Super Bowl Sunday. But, yeah, it is a really fun week of the podcast. I'm so glad we are back. And, we're back to giving you all that expert analysis to expect from the Heat Check podcast, especially on the fantasy side with things. So hopefully we are setting you guys on the path to winning your leagues with rankings like this every single week. If you like that type of stuff, by the way, make sure you hit the subscribe button, click that notification bell so you don't miss out on your rankings. So like the video, comment down below if there's any fantasy guys that you think are sleepers to us that we missed out on. We might read through the comments a little bit, try to get that incorporated into our podcast a little bit more, like we were trying to do yesterday. But yeah, guys, with all that said, thank you guys for watching. See you next week. Peace.